Welcome to the Creative Brew, helping you keep your creative juices brewing. We're giving out chunks of insight, motivation, and practicality for your creative journey. We've got some great partners with the Creative Brew. First of all, Panels Comics and Coffee Bar here in beautiful Oceanside, California, right off of Mission Avenue. They've got some of the hottest graphic novels and comics out right now. They also have a wide assortment of merchandise, toys, as well as back issue vintage comic books, and that I'm sure has some hidden gems in there. If you mention the Creative Brew, you'll get 10% off of your next purchase. You can also check them out on social media at Panels Coffee or go to panelscoffee.com. My next partner is Elevate Coffee Trading, and if you appreciate specialty coffee, enjoy outdoor adventure, and love helping elevate the lives of children around the world, then you're going to love Elevate Coffee Trading. Their mission is to extract hope through love, coffee, and adventures. There's free shipping in the United States, and every bag of coffee helps sponsor health and education for children in coffee-producing countries and in areas of need in the United States. You can use promo code ELEVATE21 on your next order, and you can follow their journey on social media at Elevate Coffee Trading, or you can visit online at elevatecoffeetrading.com, and let's start extracting hope together. Another partner of mine is Astropad, and if you're a digital creator like me and you constantly use your iPad Pro, you can actually use Astropad to change your graphics tablet into another professional graphics tablet, so you can use Photoshop, full versions of Adobe Photoshop, Illustrator, InDesign, all your favorite programs right on your iPad Pro or graphics tablet. This has been an awesome tool for me because I'm always having to do some fine-tuning, editing, repainting, recoloring on various design projects or working on logos. Astropad is a huge asset for me. For teachers and students and educators, they actually have a great deal going on right now. This is an annual subscription, so it's a subscription app, but it's been a huge tool for me, and I don't know what I would do without Astropad. So you can check them out at Astropad app or go to astropad.com. And my last sponsor is the KoboPod. KoboPod is a boutique video and audio production studio based in Oceanside, California. And if you're a podcaster, vlogger, content creator, you should really come by and check out the venue for yourself. Anytime that I bring in a guest, they're amazed by the setup, amazed by the quality, the production value. Like I said, I think the Creative Brew just went up a notch. I actually went up incredible levels partnering up with the KoboPod and been able to create, 4K video. Everything looks great. Even the photographer that we have on staff, I use a lot of their photography for branded assets for the Creative Brew, as well as the audio for my podcast and my radio show. So if you want to feel like booking your session, and maybe you're thinking about starting a podcast, or maybe heck, you want to just sit in one day. I'm doing a podcast, or I'm doing a show. Hey, come by, check it out. See the venue, see the setup, check out everybody. It's a great vibe here. But let's book your session today at kobopod.org. And another sponsor is Baba Coffee, that is here in here in Carlsbad, California. Great vibes, good coffee. I love the setup over there. They actually offer wine, coffee, dessert, food. I love the avocado toast over there. Check it out. That's one that I would recommend. And right now, they're actually every Sunday. And it's actually going on right now. Is they have live music and food trucks, I believe. So they'll have a chef there as well as live music. So come by, go by Baba Coffee, and they're there for a few hours. So they usually have some different entertainment every Sunday. So go by there, check it out. So I wanted to give a special shout out to my new sponsor for the show, Baba Coffee. And welcome to a new episode of the Creative Brew, giving you insights on your creative journey. Today we have someone that I've met through a past guest, Jacqueline Farkas, and getting to know her and her story. I actually helped sort of create her brand identity and her logo, and uh, what would you call it? It's not really a personal fitness brand. I mean, I don't know what you would call Beats.
Well, yeah, Beats Fitness, I guess, is sort of like a personal fitness brand in a sense. I am Beats, so that's where I can explain later where that comes from. But it's, online and personal training in like in a holistic approach and a mindset approach.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I mean, getting to meet Michelle and sort of seeing the things she put out on she puts out on Instagram. We finally finally getting connected. Do the podcast, but um, without further ado, I'll let Michelle tell a little bit about her story and where she started from as opposed to where she is now.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here. It's funny to me how this comes full circle. Um, but basically, my name is Michelle Beaton. I am now a personal coach, whether it's going to be online or in person. Um, I train, and through my training, through physical training, I help you become like a better version of yourself and kind of take control over your life. I help people realize that starting with just that 1 hour in your day of focusing on yourself, that can translate into many other things in your life. Didn't haven't always been here. So my journey actually started in hospitality, believe it or not. I went to school for hospitality, graduated in that, always for the last 11 years of my life. Actually, I was in hospitality. Um, Towards the end, I was starting to feel like my passion was fading away and that I needed to make a change. I was feeling like something was missing in my life. I didn't feel like I was working towards what I'm meant to do. Um, and then actually, through COVID and getting furloughed from my job, it helped me gain all my free time back and start doing all the things that I love again. I started becoming, active outdoors again, doing everything under the sun that you can think of. Um, that was like a hobby that I used to do and love, but then slowly just didn't have the time for because I was always working. Um, then I got my job back after COVID, and getting my free time stripped away from me made me realize, oh my God, like I really don't enjoy this. Like, and on a much higher level than I ever imagined was even possible. So I said, no, there's no way. Like, I can't do this because at some point it was starting to affect my work ethic. And I said, I don't like to leave anywhere with closed doors. I don't believe in that. So I said, there's no way that I'm going to ruin my reputation of the last 10, 11 years of my life, because of the way that I feel. So I said, no, something's got to give. I got to make a change. And then I saw a post one day that a gym was hiring, and I was very interested in it. And it was a friend of mine that posted it, and she helped me out and literally told me that day that get serious about it, get your CPT, which is your your personal training certification. Um, she said, get serious about it, get the CPT, and we'll make it happen. So that night, I literally went online, got my CPT, and made it happen. Um, After that, worked at the gym for about 5, 6 months, left, and now I've been doing my own business for the last 3 months and trying to help people as much as I can through training and making them feel better of themselves.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Yeah, I think with COVID, it definitely made people sort of realize what what they value in life and what they're wanting really wanting to do.
Absolutely.
And it sort of sucks when it takes a situation like that to sort of realize, because I mean, if everything was still normal, you still would have been. Do you feel like you still would have been still in hospitality?
Maybe, maybe not, because I was very unhappy even before. And I was always having conversations, even with my boss at the time. I was having conversations with her, you know, of trying to figure out what next. I think that COVID accelerated that.
Yeah.
Um, I think I always would have done it. It just would have been definitely a lot slower. Especially I
So
had so much stability. I mean, I was making decent money. I had great benefits. You know, why would I leave that? You know, it makes it difficult.
oh yeah, yeah. Sometimes comfort can be a killer sometimes.
Oh yeah,
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 that nice couch is comfortable until
absolutely, absolutely.
so you come around, you started your own brand. So what's Beats? Is Beats like a, I know obviously it's part of your name, but is it like an acronym for anything or?
It is. The Beats actually comes from my last job with Marriott. Because when I initially got hired, there was another Michelle in the office already. So their joke before I even started was, well, first they put everybody's like name on their cubicles as Michelle, so then I wouldn't know who was who. And then after that, it became like calling us by our last names to differentiate the two. My last name is Beaton, and it's not common. So it quickly became, and I was a really quiet person, so I wouldn't really talk much. And Beaton quickly became Beats by Dre. And then the by Dre part got dropped, and they just started calling me Beats. And I actually really liked it because it's derived from my actual name. So it is me.
Yeah.
It's a positive word when you think about it. Goes into your heartbeat, goes into music, vibrations, like it's good. So I liked it. And I used it as an acronym for my business. So stands for my core values, which are: the B is for be yourself, the E is for evolve, the A is for accountability, the T is for tenacity or tenacious, and the S is for strength. So those are all the things, the core values that my business stands on, because I always want everyone to be themselves. I want them to evolve or constantly be evolving, because we're always evolving until the day we are no longer here. That's the whole point of this, right? So I want everyone to constantly be evolving, learning, and growing. We have to have accountability, and through accountability, there's community, because through that community, we can help hold each other accountable. And tenacity is so that you never give up. You always keep going. You know, every time you fall down, just make sure you get back up. And strength in not just physical strength, but in the mind. And for some, even maybe spirituality. I mean, strengthen all aspects: health, wealth, like your financial, everything. So it comes together as a whole.
Great. That's great. So do you find yourself sort of, I mean, as far as your audience, do you, I know with the clients you have now, is it more, I would assume, is it more female as opposed to male? Or is it a mix? I just wasn't sure.
It's definitely more female than male. I have one male client now, but definitely my target would be to work with females.
Okay. Cool. So now I noticed, even uh, online, I know you've been putting out more, content as far as with self care and making sure you make sort of creating that space, that personal sort of sacred space for you. I'm always a big advocate that you can't you can't give to others until you give to yourself. What made you sort of focus more on that from what I've seen in the content?
Honestly, so I used to play basketball all my life, really.
Okay.
I just always liked the sport. I feel like I taught myself the sport, just enjoying it. Like when I was little, from elementary school, and then when I got into middle school, I started playing, on the teams, and I got myself into Tamiami here, which in Miami is like a league that you can get into that's obviously separate from schools, so you can play like clubs and stuff like that. So I got into that here locally, and then started playing like organized a lot more often. Now, where I'm getting at is, when I was younger, I feel like I didn't have such a strong mindset. I felt like I was always waiting for like a mentor or someone to like believe in me to be able to excel, because I knew I had talent. I knew I was decent, and if I like had somebody that believed in me, wanted to mentor me and train me, I could be a lot better. And that's something I've never really shared with other people, but I feel like that's how I felt inside, that I was always waiting for somebody to set up the opportunity for me instead of me creating it. And in life, in growing up, you go through a lot of lessons. You learn that life is not like that. You know, you have to, it's okay that you can possibly be lucky to meet somebody that can become your mentor, but you can't rely on that solely. You have to be your own mentor. You have to be your own source of strength, your own best friend, your own everything. You know, what you want from others, you gotta accept or take out from yourself first. So I just, through all my experiences, I learned, that mindset is everything. Mindset is everything. You know, your body won't get there if your mind's not there first. So I just realized how important it is to really hone in on having a strong mind, because I'm telling you, throughout everything that I've experienced, even in the short period of time of having my business, your body, your goals, you won't get there unless your mind does first.
Yeah.
And the moment that your mind does, and you see what you're capable of, you just start thinking, oh my God, then what's next? And then you start realizing all you have to do is believe in yourself first. But it all starts with the mind.
But now, what you bring up a interesting point. Why do you? I guess from your perspective, why do you feel like it's so much easier to, downplay ourselves, or maybe be negative with ourselves, as opposed to being our number one fan? Why do you feel like it's so hard? Do you think it's just something that's just been sort of ingrained just through years and years and years, or?
I think it's a mixture. Like, I think it's a mixture, because it could be ingrained from a little bit from how you were raised and your environment. I also just think that it's so much easier to uplift a friend than it is to uplift yourself, because when it comes to you, there's a lot of back end work that has to be done. But when you're giving the advice to your friend, there's no back end work for you. You're just relaying the message, you're relaying the support. So that's so much easier. But when you're relaying that support to yourself, you're giving yourself that advice, but now you have to put that advice into action. And it's a lot harder. So it's so much easier to just, forgive my language, but to shit all over yourself, because that's the easy way out. But in reality, when you start realizing that you talk to yourself in a much more positive way, and then you start realizing your strength and your potential, it could be like the sights and the limits are literally unlimited in where you can reach. It's just a matter of where you're looking, how far you're looking.
Yeah, that's the truth. That's yes, especially coming from coming from a athletic and entrepreneurial and creative background. It's especially in especially for a lot of creators, it's really I'd probably say athletes too, but it's really easy to sort of downplay our strengths and talents, and it's one of those where sometimes you don't feel like you may not be good enough, or feel like your work may not be good enough, and whereas someone else can be like, oh man, your work is awesome. And so yeah, it's Yeah, it's really interesting. We're always sort of looking through some kind of distorted lens of who we are, as opposed to sort of trying to trying our best to reframe um, reframe our story and reframe how we want to show up in the world. Um, yeah, I think it's always a ongoing process. Um, I think a
Yes.
lot of people do you feel like a lot of people that especially the people that you train, do you feel like, okay, they start this this new fitness journey and lifestyle, and do you feel like they're expecting to sort of change overnight, or do they already know, like, hey, this is going to be a lifelong uh, journey?
I feel like everyone thinks it's going to be like overnight or really fast. I explain to my clients off the bat, before we even have a first session. That's one of the first things that I explain. Like, this is journey. I'm not trying to show you how to do it in 2 days. I'm trying to show you this to make it sustainable. I want you to have longevity, because for me, I'm not trying to be like that quick gimmick. Oh, lose weight in 30 days and that's it. Like, so that you look like there's a huge transformation. And I don't like that. What I like is to teach you how to change your lifestyle, make this a lifestyle that is sustainable from even when you and I are not working together anymore. Because I think there's a lot more value in that, and education, and then it really makes an actual impact on this world. If you can help somebody learn how to live a healthier lifestyle and kind of make it seem like it's easier than what they thought. um, but all my clients come with that same mentality. Everybody does, because everybody wants the work done quickly. They want the easy way out, but there's no easy way out. Anything that's worth it is going to take time.
Yeah, yep, that's true. That's true. Yeah, I think. I mean, I know I've been, just in fitness or just working out. I think for pretty much most of my life. I'd started, athletics back in like seventh grade in middle school, and just never stopped.
Right.
Yeah, it's just one of those where, yeah, I think a lot of people just they're wanting to, hey, they're wanting to get this in 20 or 30 days, and then that's it. And it's always a maintenance.
Mm-hmm.
I know even with short story, my little brother, he just been dealing with always dealt with obesity, and um he he got to a point to where the doctor said he had to lose X amount of weight, or he wasn't gonna be here anymore. And he finally got himself in order and lost like 200 pounds. And
Wow.
so now he's it's just one of those where now it's a maintenance, because he still has in the back of his mind, like, he's still that big kid.
Right.
um and I think for a lot of people, even people that's been, um maybe they're in the spectrum of where they're personal fitness instructors or whatnot, being empathetic to a lot of those people, and knowing, hey, look, this is, you know sometimes we have no idea what some of those, a lot of those people have to deal with. Like, they're still in the back of the mind, they still feel fat, and they could be losing 100 pounds, 200 pounds, and learning how to reframe how they see themselves. And that's a daily process. It's always maintenance. I mean, even for people that's still training, I still work out. It's maintenance. Like, you always have to be in there, and continually trying to either maintain or get better. um, and so yeah, it's just a lifelong journey. And I think when people realize that I think they take those expectations, feeling like, oh, I got to get shredded in 20 days. And
Right.
just it takes time.
Exactly. And then it becomes setting smart goals. Like, for maybe in your first 4 to 5 months, your goal is to lose, like, I don't know, let's just say 10 pounds. Okay. I mean, that's a slower rate of losing that, but let's just say that. Then the next time it's because you want to start building, then you build a little bit. then you start going down on a cut again. What if your goal is, I want to deadlift half my weight or my actual weight? Okay, then you start the unrealistic goals start getting thrown out the window, and then you just start enjoying the journey. And that the reason I want to, like, through fitness, is teach people, how to be better versions of themselves, and realize that starting with that 1 hour can translate into so many other areas of your life, is exactly that. Because enjoying the journey does not mean just enjoying the journey within your fitness, and that's just in life, period.
Yeah.
Because anything in life, is about maintenance, is about the journey. I mean, like, I saw that a post from Arnold Schwarzenegger recently, that they were asking, like, oh, how come you're, I don't know, how old is he, like 70 or something like that, that he's 70 years old and you still go to the gym every day. And he said, well, because, like, I'm still having breakfast every day, right? Like 5-10 years ago, I was still sleeping every day. It is still a part of your routine. That's just something that it is a lifestyle. And it's not because you want to have, the bikini body and show off. It's simply because you want to have great health. And I mean, if that's a goal of yours, great. I mean, I'd like to live a long and happy life. So I know that taking care of my health is part of that, which means that I have to create this lifestyle. That doesn't mean I won't indulge and have my fun, but it's a lifestyle. So you get back to making those healthy habits and daily routines.
Yeah, I know. I actually just got back. That's a great point. I end up just getting back from the competing in the U.S. Open for wrestling, and I was in I was like in the Masters division, so it's like a lot of the older wrestlers, but it was a bunch of different divisions, but it was people that was in there, had to be 70s and 80s that was still competing and looking great. And it's just one of those where it's just like it's just a part of who they are, like they're not going to stop until they die. They're not going to stop until something just breaks down, or they just pass away from this world, this earth. They will keep competing, and that's something that I mean, it was sort of amazing seeing that, and being, watching them be able to move and wrestle. Like, man, like that's what I want to do that. Like, I want to keep doing that until so yeah, it's pretty amazing. I mean, I think just Arnold put it, dead on the head. I mean, it's just like, it's just a part of who you are. It's just it's a habit. It's and your body starts to figure it out too. Once you get into that habit, and you hadn't worked out or something like that, it's like, okay, you need to move around or something, like you need to get going. Something doesn't feel right, but yeah, until it becomes like a part of that person, and that's where, I think that's where you just see that lifelong process of just having great health. That's great point.
Absolutely.
So right now, so even with Beats and everything you got going, it seems like you are a avid bike rider. Is that something you didn't got to do? Now, I know a lot of people that start on the bike path, they tend to get addicted to it really quick.
Yeah.
Is that something that's happened for you?
Oh my God, yes. So actually going into, like, doing something for lifelong, segueing from that, I couldn't play basketball forever, it's very impactful sport that it's not necessarily good for your body after some point. So when I realized that I couldn't really do it anymore, but I needed to do something to stay active, I got myself on a bike, and I had like a fixie, which is basically a single speed bike. It has one gear, that one brake, and that's it. And I started on that 8 years ago, and then, or like 9 years ago now, actually. And then through COVID, because they closed all the gyms, everything was shut down, it got me back on my bike. And I started riding so much throughout COVID that one of my friends, said, hey, why don't we try doing a 50-mile ride, mind you, on a fixie? So I said, okay, let's do it. I don't know. I just don't back down from challenges. I'm like, whatever, let's do it. So then I set myself in my mind, I'm like, now that I agreed to these 50 miles, I'm not getting off this bike until that little computer tells me that I did 50 miles. So we went for the ride. And throughout that ride, I kept seeing groups of road cyclists on, like, throughout my ride, because we were riding for so long. I kept seeing groups and groups and groups. I saw their little outfits. I could hear the whining of the bikes, and I was like, wow, they look so cool. The bike sounds super cool. I was like, I want to be them. I don't think I lasted a week after I saw that, and I got my first road bike. And then I never looked back from there. I got like two more after that, and like I traded them in until I got the one that I have right now, which is my favorite. It's my little baby. And now I was riding at the time like 6 times a week. That's how obsessed I became with it. Yeah. Now I realize that with my weight training and cycling, I have to have a good split so that I don't burn myself out, because that is definitely a thing. So now I ride my bike 3 times a week, and I weight train 3 times a week.
Okay. All right. Good deal. Good deal. So
I definitely became obsessed.
yeah, we got a bunch of groups like that out here. It's crazy, and then it gets worse whenever when we have like certain marathons or competitions.
Yeah.
We always have the Ironman and stuff out here,
Yeah.
and then it just gets outrageous because then everybody's got their bikes out,
Everybody.
and
Yeah.
so yeah,
I'm actually dying to take my bike over there and ride, not for any like special event, but just to enjoy like my bike in a different scenery.
oh yeah,
Oh, what I was gonna say though about that too, in terms of what we were saying before, when I first started cycling, what I really loved about it is that you would see like 70-year-old men, 60 to 70-year-old men still riding, and for hours on the bike, 2 to 3 hours, 70 miles, 80 miles, 100 miles, doing some serious stuff on the bike at that age. So when I saw that, even women too, I've seen women too. So when I saw that, I said, that to me is amazing, because you could be that age and still in such excellent shape to be withstanding that many hours on the bike in this heat. And I said, that sounds amazing to me. That's going to keep me in shape and my cardiovascular shape. Like, that's very important.
yeah. You come out here, you'll have fun. You'll probably ride like 100 miles because there's no humidity. Well, we got the humidity, but it's not nowhere near as bad as like the Florida. I'm from Tennessee, so like I understand, like humidity is completely different south. Um, I don't think a lot of people understand that. But yeah, out here you can actually breathe.
Well, that's why I've been thinking about like taking a trip, just to take a trip and with some friends and take the bikes, and then we just ride around those areas.
Yeah,
I've been dying to do that.
yeah. We got a lot of hills, a lot of
I
hills.
know that's the only thing that I'm not used to, but we'll figure it out.
I was actually pretty amazed when because Tennessee, we got a lot of hills and mountains and stuff, and coming out to the West Coast, I didn't think it was like a lot of hills until I got out here, and I'm like, man, there's like hills everywhere. So yeah, I see a lot of the bicyclists, like they'll be going up, a whole group of them going up and down the hill. Um, I'm like, yeah, I probably burned my legs out right now.
Yeah, yeah, it's rough. It's rough, but it's so much fun. You just have to learn to love to suffer.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So right now, I mean, what things what things are inspiring you right now?
Honestly, for the first time, I can say that I'm inspiring myself, which I'm proud of that, because as you mentioned earlier, that why is it so easy for us to talk down on ourselves or whatever. I obviously was definitely one of those people. Um, and for the first time, I'm actually extremely proud of everything that I'm doing, with having, the courage to be, well, one, to have taken the step of getting rid of all my stable jobs and now running my own business and being, an entrepreneur. Two, for creating so much content on social media and being very consistent with that, because we all know that that's not easy to create the content and put things out there, and people have negative comments and feedback and dealing with, so um just really every single day working towards what I'm working towards and seeing the growth has me, like, I'm inspiring myself to continue to keep going. I'm very, very proud and kind of shocked at what I'm doing in such a little time. So for the first time, I can honestly say that it's me.
Great. Great. So even it just sort of piggybacking on what you talk about, even when you creating more content, do you feel like your audience is growing because of that? I mean, I didn't know if you can tell yet if that was funneling into possibly getting a new client yet, or are you right now, is it just a lot of people starting to gravitate towards what you're putting out?
I think it's a slight combination of both right now. It's still really early. I've only been very consistent with social media. And when I mean very consistent, I mean posting once a day. And then last week, I actually upped the takes to posting 2 times a day, and
Mhm.
obviously being on my story as well. Um, I think what that's helped with is I've definitely gained followers. I've gained at least 40 more followers in doing that. So it's been 2 weeks in total of me being consistent with my social media. And I've gained 40 followers. So that's something. And earlier this week, I was actually going to create a video talking about consistency because of this. Because I've been so consistent on my social media, this week I've gotten like 6 different people reaching out to me from all different angles, either texting me, calling me, through my social media, asking me for personal training or online, or my online program. And I've gotten now 2 clients out of that. Um, and all that took was me being consistent. Um, Yesterday I posted, I came up with something so silly. Like, it was just like an idea that came out of nowhere because I love coffee. So I always I don't even drink coffee because it gives me energy. It really doesn't. I just love coffee, the taste of coffee, like just the vibe, So I made myself a cup of coffee every morning, and then that morning, I decided, like, let me have like talk about this topic. Yesterday, I chose fear because I feel like I've been hearing that a lot come up within my own life, within my conversations with my clients and everything. So I made like a little video on that, and I called it Café con Michi. And then, like, so many people reached out to me telling me I should have a podcast. And I said, this is crazy because I've always wanted a podcast. Um, but it was just like little things like that. It's just, if you keep it consistent and you just focus on, that next step, or like 1% better every day, it, you reap like the benefits, you reap the rewards eventually. And being consistent on social media has definitely helped. It's been an um absolute challenge, but it's definitely helped. And then it teaches you, like, to start looking at that in all aspects, like not in just social media. Now, consistency with my business, period. If I keep this up and I keep working at it and chipping away every day, I can only imagine where I would be 3 months, 4 months, a year, 2 years, 5 years from now. So consistency in whatever aspect.
Great. That's awesome. Yeah, I think a lot of people, a lot of businesses, they'll feel like, um, trying to figure out ways of, creating content, or figure out what the best, marketing strategies are. And I was like, look, I mean, sometimes the best strategy is just, just being yourself. I mean,
Mm.
that's what people gravitate towards. You could, there's I can't imagine that the amount of personal trainers, or brands that's in the, that sort of that Florida, that Miami area, and you know, people gravitate towards people, and that's what it comes down to. You can build relationships and build rapport. That's it. I mean, it's and I think a lot of businesses, they they put out certain things. It might be some kind of sometimes a little salesy or whatnot, and as opposed to just putting out content that you want to talk about. Naturally that's got to gravitate people towards what you're offering. I think if you came out with, hey, this is what I do, and offering certain programs or specials or talking about that I think that tends to back off a lot of people, more than talking about things that people can connect with, and people
Agreed.
know from a very personal standpoint, and people know about fear, and they know figuring out ways of how to combat that, or learning how to be consistent.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're going the right path. I mean, even with the show, I mean, I did this out of necessity. I didn't know anyone.
Right.
Coming from Tennessee, I mean, I didn't know anyone, so I wanted to create a platform where I got to meet people. That was that was what it was, and
Real
it sort
cool
of
way
just
to
grew
do
from
it.
there. So there's no way I wouldn't be able to get in contact with you if I hadn't met Jacqueline.
Yeah.
Likewise, if I hadn't created the podcast, I mean, there's no
Right.
no way.
Yeah.
um, yeah, I would definitely, especially at your standpoint, something I tell a couple of my clients is, yeah, create that content. I mean, you're pretty much like a little media company. Produce those reels, produce the podcast. I mean, even the audio you can pull from some of your videos and turn it right into a podcast. Um, if you need help with that, I can do that. But um,
Yeah, you see, these are the things that I don't know. Right now, you're talking Chinese to me. All I know is how to create videos on my phone and put them up somewhere. So today I created the YouTube channel just to kind of like put them in one area.
yep.
And I know YouTube works, and then maybe kind of from there create it eventually as a podcast. But for now, to at least like kind of upload them there and start little by little. But that's well, first of all, I love to say that I love the name, the Creative Brew. I love that.
Yeah, same. I
Um,
like coffee too. I mean, which I like, uh, I've always been a fan of coffee and craft beers, and it's huge around here.
yeah,
Real hardcore. But yeah, I just, always been a fan of like coffee shops and that vibe, and
I love that vibe.
yeah, yeah, a lot of coffee. I mean, well, if I put like extra shots of espresso, but other than that, I mean, I really don't get hyped up over coffee. I just like the feeling of it.
Same,
Yeah.
same, same, same.
Um, but that's how it started, and just you just grow it from there. You know, Personally for me, I mean, I this is the platform that I use to sort of do more, content as far as the things that I enjoy, or even helping to promote people like you, and magnify them and their brand and what they're doing. Um, yeah, I mean, it's yeah, you just start from somewhere and just grow it. I think a lot of companies tend to, they feel like, let's go with what works, and sometimes you got to change. I mean, sometimes you got to do something a little different, and then that's where you start to pull in people. But I do
Right.
believe once you sort of put out your authentic self, that's when things start popping in.
Agreed.
Um,
I was
so,
just gonna say too that on that, like how you said earlier about just being you, like sometimes that's the strategy. It really is because you are the company, right? Like you are the brand, or at least in my case, let's say, it's not, I guess not every company, the product is might not be the person, but you have to stay true to yourself. You have to put things out there that are you, in every aspect. And that's what's going to gravitate people. That's what's going to get people to you. So as long as you stay within that alignment, within those values and things that you believe in, then definitely you'll end up being successful. Also, if you keep it consistent, because I've also
so,
learned. Oh no, go ahead.
oh no, I was gonna say, so even with beats, um do you feel yourself sort of do you feel content right now, sort of where it's at, or do you feel like, hey, maybe I'd like to grow this or scale it out in some form or fashion?
I'm definitely trying to grow it. I've learned that obviously giving personal training, I'm going to be limited because there's only so many hours in the day. And so there's only so many people that I can see. So I'm limiting the amount of people that I can help. And I'm also limiting, to be quite frankly, my income. So what I'm trying to do is kind of scale my business as to go online so that I can help a lot more people without necessarily having to be face to face with you and in person, so that I can reach a wider variety of people and really start helping and making a larger impact. Um, so that's eventually the goal. That's something that I'm working on right now. Um, in fact, I actually have like kind of like, I guess, a beta test of an online program going on right now where I have 2 people in it, and then the rest of my clients, the other 9, are in person. So technically I have 9 people in person and then the 2 online. That little beta test is so I can get feedback, see how the app works that I'm using, and then I'm going to launch the real program hopefully within the next month or 2. And it's going to have a lot more things included with it that I think will separate me from the regular, online 12-week program that you buy from other trainers, that you just buy a PDF and then you never talk to them again.
Yeah.
Um, I'm trying to do it a lot more personal, just online. So I'm trying to figure out a way where I can make that happen and make it something that is just a lot more interactive. I want the people to see me, and to be able to have, be in contact with them, not like you buy my program and I never see you again unless you send me your before and after pictures and that's all I want from you. I don't want it like that. I kind of want it to be a very personal process throughout. And it'll still be a 3-month, well, 12-week program, but it'll be more interactive. So that's what I'm working towards right now. I am very happy with where I am right now because in such little time, I wasn't really expecting to be here. But I'm definitely, like I want all of my clients to do evolving.
Great. That's awesome. So, creative tips. What is a creative tip or tips that you can provide for our audience?
Oh my God. Okay. You know what? It all stems from the mind. It's a mindset. Um, it's definitely a mindset. I used to tell myself that I'm not creative, that I am the worst. And why? Because my perspective on being creative meant that I need to draw really well, that I needed to be like some type of artist, that and I didn't have that kind of talent. But that's not what being creative means. So my creative tip is to change your perspective in your mind. You are creative. Every single human being on this earth is creative, so long as they think that they are creative. So it starts there first. And then after that, I would say plan every day to sit down and maybe even if it's just journaling your thoughts on being creative, like maybe it's for creating content, you just write your ideas. But as long as you take like 10 minutes of your day every day to hone in on trying to be creative, I think you'll start realizing that your brain gets trained to be in that state of mind. And then you start realizing that so many more ideas come up and they kind of just flow.
Great tip. Great tip. Um, so, and then I think we've already sort of talked about a little bit. What kind of potential projects are you brewing on?
Well, we did touch on it a little bit, but it's the online program, which I'm really hoping to launch within the next month or the maximum 2. Um, that it's going to be an interactive 12-week program where you will, have the opportunity to meet with me or in a group, whether it's one-on-one or in a group, where I kind of coach you through that 12-week program. And it will dive into a little bit more of mindset as well, since that's something that I really believe heavily on, aside from the nutrition and training that you'll get for those 12 weeks. So that's something I'm working on.
And then just before we sign off, words of wisdom. What are those words of wisdom that will resonate when people hear this, or even a year from now when people find out about Beats Fitness and they end up finding this episode and something that may connect with their hearts and their minds. What are those words of wisdom?
I'd say always stay true to yourself and believe in yourself. Do whatever makes you happy and don't worry about what anybody else might think or say. Because at the end of the day, everybody's got an opinion, and whether you do it or whether you don't. So you might as well just do whatever is going to make you happy and always stay true to yourself.
Great, great words to live by. Great words. And then how can people reach out to you for your online programs, for personal training, for uh, even for being a podcast guest on another podcast? How can people reach out to you?
So you can follow me on Instagram. It's at Coach Michelle Beaton. Michelle's with two L's. You can get me there. My website is beatsfitnesstraining.com. So you can check out, my website. All my plans and options are on there. Um, and I'd say right now that's about it. I do have the YouTube channel, but if you hit my Instagram, there's a link there that will take you to all the rest of my TikTok, my um, YouTube, and everything else in there.
Great, awesome. Well, hey, this has been a very enlightening episode with Michelle. Thank you for coming on. Appreciate it. And like I said, personally for me, I hope you enjoy the logo and the overall branding. Uh, so yeah, this episode will be out in the next probably week or so, but it'll be available on all of our podcast platforms, SoundCloud, Spotify, um, and Apple Podcasts, and then it'll be on our radio show. My radio partner with Helium Radio, which is an internet radio station based out of Florida. So it'll be on there, and then the video component of this will be on my YouTube page, and snippets of this to be on the Instagram for and Facebook for the Creative Brew. So once again, thank you, Michelle. Appreciative. Um, keep growing, and like I said, I hope you have uh, 100 new clients come in. What would you do if you had like 100 new clients come in like the next week?
I'd probably freak out, but but I think I'll figure out how to manage it. I really appreciate you. It's been a pleasure being on this podcast. It's a lot of fun. I love your energy and I love your vibe. So thank you so much for having me. And I wish you nothing but the best as well. I do love my logo. I even wore it. I didn't even get to see it because my hair was in the way. But but thank you. I wish you nothing but the best as well. Hopefully one day we could actually meet in person.
Hey, sounds great. Sounds awesome. Sounds awesome. I know I'm always up for traveling. So, um, but other than that, hey, this has been a awesome episode with me, your show host. Also too, if you're interested in either advertising or supporting the show for our audience or for listeners, or for potential advertisers, different ways of doing that. You can go to www.buymeacoffee.com /the creative brew, and for the price of a cup of coffee you can support this show. So that's for anyone that's interested in supporting this episode as well as other episodes. And then if you're interested in possibly being an advertiser for the show, this is from video, podcast, and radio. um, Send me a message or send me an email. It'll be in my show notes, and then I can send you a media kit or advertising packet for that. So for anyone interested, this show is brought to you by a few great sponsors. Just quick shout out, Baba Coffee, that's in Carlsbad, California. One of my new sponsors and advertisers, been a great partner of mine. Um, and they actually have live music and food on Fridays. Actually, they have live music going through the weekend, but they have live music and food. Panels, coffee, and comic book bar that's based in Oceanside, California. And they're probably one of the only coffee shops / comic book coffee shops. Pretty cool. So been a partner of mine for years. If you mention the podcast, you'll get a special discount off your next purchase. Elevate Coffee Trading, that's based in the Dallas area. And then the Kobo Pod, that's my other recording studio that's based in Oceanside, California. So quick shout out to them. They usually help me create some high-end episodes. So they have sort of all-inclusive sound coach, video, pictures, everything you need to produce a professional content for your brand or podcast. So you can book them at kobopod.org. Book your session today. So, but other than that, this has been another awesome episode. And once again, be creative, stay inspired.